And this morning we're discussing a book called A Stranger's Pose. That's it right here, by Emmanuel Iduma, of course with a foreword by Teju Cole. Now, we're going to be talking about this book, and it's a strange book as well as an exciting book as well. When I looked at it, when I started the book, I thought it was a novel. I was like, okay, this is a novel. Then going down, I'm like, okay, it's a book of poetry. Then later I then discovered travelogue. So many different things in one. So you're a photographer, you're a writer, and you just try to capture everything that happens around you and all of that. Talk to us about the book.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. A Stranger's Pose is the first time I'm noticing that it's a Stranger's Pose and it's a strange book.
Yeah.
So that's a new one. I think it's a strange book. I also think so. And I think it comes out of the fact that I was combining a number of my interests at the time. So my career also as a writer began with writing poetry and fiction. And then I went on to begin traveling with photographers and writing about my travels, a group called Invisible Borders. And also I began to study in a program in New York called Art Criticism and Writing. So it's also that I was trying to bring together my interest in criticism as well. Yeah. So there are at least 5 different genres happening at the same time.
I thought it was really good. I saw the write-up in The Atlantic about the book, and they were also enthralled by how, usually what you would have is a photographer telling a story in a picture type of book with short narrations under it. But here, you were telling it with a little bit of prose and helping the people to experience the same experience you had. Right? That's one of the things you try to achieve.
Yes. So I'd had a number of travel experiences, both traveling with a group and by myself. And by the time I started writing the book, I didn't want to write something straightforward. Not because the straightforward writing is not appealing, but simply because I felt like the way in which I had had experiences on the road was so fragmented. So you could simply meet someone on the road who is telling you a very captivating story about their lives, about how they've tried to travel from, say, Lagos to Europe, for instance. And the story is not straightforward. The story is, I got to Morocco and they sent me back. I got to this place and I couldn't continue. So how could the book, in a sense, capture all those pauses, all those gaps, very fragmented.
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, let's even look at some of the cities that you went to. You went to Dakar, Douala, Benin, Casablanca, Khartoum, Bamako. And anyone who reads this book just feels like traveling. I mean, Addis Ababa, Accra, Mauritania. Did you find a common trend in all of humanity in all these places that you went to?
Yeah, I think that's inevitable. We are humans first and foremost, and being human means that one, we have an instinct to love, and also an instinct to survive. That you can find in any part of the world. In fact, the idea of the universal, the idea of the things that bring everyone together is so important. But also what I found was that in each place, there was also the particular, right? And that's what makes travel, I think, exciting or interesting for anyone who wants to undertake trips. That of course, you're proceeding as a human being in the universal sense of the word, but you're also proceeding in all these respective destinations as someone who is seeing something particular about each place. So if you're saying, in Mauritania, the first thing you're noticing is that they don't dress like you.
Yes, exactly.
It's something simple, but
I mean, when I read that first story about Mauritania, I was like, wow, it's a strange place. With low roofs and none of the buildings higher than 7 feet.
And also sparse. It's a desert region in a sense. So that's the first. That's why the first chapter of the book is really about that, right? That I'm with a group driving into Mauritania, and the first thing I'm noticing is that I'm wearing a shirt and a trouser, and people are wearing like what you would call kaftans here or agbadas here, and it's casual wear. They just wear like a shirt and they wear this flowing thing. The incredible beauty of just observing that, you know, was a moment that stayed with me.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to ask for someone like you who travels very wide, I mean, you're also like a journalist,
Yeah.
you know, when you see what I mean, you're documenting what you're seeing and all of that. But were there any times where you felt a little bit of danger, maybe in particular cities or crossing a particular border?
Yeah.
What are the things that you saw?
Absolutely. I think the most dangerous parts of the trip was when I was, you know, traveling the group. And so, because first of all, you are, say, traveling in a van, right,
Yeah.
with a different plate number. So immediately you become some kind of suspect. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
And even if they know you don't have bad intentions, but they just see a group of people carrying cameras, and
Yeah.
it becomes suspicious, right? So there were a number of those moments where we had difficulties traveling around the border. But I think more importantly for me, when I was there writing about myself in those places, it was the question of language, right? So I'm not very good with languages. And so I speak, you know, at most 3 languages,
Yeah.
you know, English, Igbo, and Pidgin, which is, you know, very local in
Yeah,
that
exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
So you're traveling in Francophone Africa. There is some kind of danger in being unable to communicate.
Yeah.
But for me, it was very useful, I guess, or promising kind of danger, because it meant that I could then observe, right? I mean, I had moments where I had to, you know, get help, you know, with translation. You know, maybe I had meetings or interviews. Of course, someone who helped translate. But for the most of the time when I was alone, I would just walk around, you know, and hope that nobody stops me
Exactly.
or tries to have a conversation with me. And then when that happened, that you stutter, you stammer, you say, you know, a few English words, people are there, okay, this guy is a stranger, clearly.
Yeah.
But for me as a writer, what that meant was that my observational, my perceptiveness had to be, you know, my antenna of perception had to be.
And of course, also as a writer, one of the things that you will also find, and as a journalist as well, because I used to write for a newspaper, is that there's a lot that you would have to remember, because you can't document everything at that time. And you talked about dreams that you had, like when you wake up in the middle of a dream and then you remember some experiences that you've had before, because that also happens to a writer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's what you're saying is that memory becomes like its own entry point to, I guess, the story of travel. And for me, that was one of the most important things. Again, that's the form of the book, because I wasn't interested in saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I went there, I went there.
Just give people that experience.
Yeah, I was more interested in what can I remember. And so the weird thing that happens is that when you're trying to remember, and then when you go to check the facts, you're like, actually, that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
So that's why dreams then become like a useful thing, because when I was on the road and dreaming, I'll have all these very bizarre dreams.
Yeah.
And I felt that was also important to include in the book, because dreams became a middle ground, you know, between the actual between being at home and being away. Because you're dreaming about home, for instance, while you're away, or when you're at home, you're dreaming about being away.
And of course, they're going to be, of course, indeed, an introduction of surrealism.
Absolutely.
In some form or the other.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Emmanuel
Thank
Iduma,
you.
for joining us. You need to get this book. It's A Stranger's Pose, and I'm sure you can get it in different locations as well, online. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.